but what I'm just about to show you will really help enable you to play at speed. Drum and bass, I mean, when I first started listening to drum and bass in the 90s, the tempo was about 165 to 167, so there's a lot more sort of swing in that. The tempo then went up to 174, and now, you know, a lot of the nights, it can be at 182 to 184, which I actually think loses a bit of the swing. So, you know, if I am playing at a drum and bass night though, the speed obviously and the endurance and stamina you need to play drum and bass is really important. So what I'll do, I'm just going to show you something very simple. It's the first example on the PDF, and basically this is just an eighth note, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is accented. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if you practice this, at different speeds, it should enable you to develop a motion, and that motion will help you play faster. So just one more time. Right, now we're going to look at our first pattern, which is exercise number 2 on the PDF. So with this one, the bass drum is on 1 and the and of 3 in 16th notes, and it is the same in 8th notes. So as I've discussed, we're going to go from 16ths to 8th notes, half time to double time. So now what I did there was I fluctuated some of the timing. So with the tempo, be adaptable for what you're comfortable at. So basically all we're looking at the moment is to go from half time to double time. So I just gave you the example there of, you know, playing it fast and playing it slow, but the motion is very important with the 16ths and the hi-hat, because then it leads into the 8th notes. So basically, as long as you do the motion, it should enable you to play fast. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do exercise number 3, and this time I've added a ghost stroke on the E of 3. So I'll just play this pattern slowly to start with, and obviously it's the same. It's the E of 3 in 16ths and the E of 3 in the 8th notes. So So even though that's a simple beat, when you're actually playing it with the right dynamics, it still sort of has got a swing to it. I'll just play the eighth notes again, because I just sort of noticed then, you know, it's important to sort of inject a bit of feeling and swing into the beats. So. So with that pattern there, you just saw me applying it to different sound sources. So although we're at a beginning point, once you're comfortable with some of these patterns, it would be great if you could apply it and just use your imagination to get different sounds and pitches, which is really important for drum and bass playing. So now we're going to look at exercise number 4. And what I've done here is I've added a ghost stroke on the at of 2. So basically it's 2E and a. Right, exercise 5. One of the favourite aspects for me about jungle drumming and drum and bass, and is also very, you know, it comes from hip hop, is amens. And amen is when you've got a double on the kick. So at hip hop tempo, we'll be looking more in depth at amens and sort of old school jungle drumming in later lessons. But for today, I really wanted to do just a sort of basic example of an amen. So I'll play through the pattern, and again, I'll do it slowly to fast. Okay, that was the final example of today's half time to double time, hip hop to drum and bass, blagger's guide to drum and bass drumming. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and in lesson number 2, we're going to be looking at some militant jungle. So I look forward to seeing you then.